name is Mark Okazaki. I'm the Executive Director of Neighborhood House, a nonprofit social service agency that has been providing a wide range of education and social services to Seattle's low-income children and families since 1906. And so on behalf of Neighborhood House and the thousands of children and families that we serve, welcome to this press event. We are standing in front of the High Point Neighborhood Center, which is a facility that Neighborhood House built in partnership with the Seattle Housing Authority and a number of other community partners to provide a wide range of education and social services to the low-income families who call High Point their home. One of our key programs is our preschool. And in our center, we have 2 classrooms where we run preschool for 60 of the low-income children who live here in High Point. 40 of those slots are funded through the Head Start Federal Preschool Program, and we have an additional 20 slots funded through the Families and Education Levy through the Step Ahead program. So it's a great service for the community we serve, but we do face some challenges. Every year, on average, about 40 of our children will age out and move on to kindergarten. That leaves 40 openings. We fill those openings within days, and a waiting list starts immediately. And Mr. Mayor, come September, I will have parents come to my office asking me, saying to me, my neighbor's child gets to go to school. My child wants to go to school too. Why can't my child go to school? So we have tremendous needs in our community, and it's really an honor to host this press event and to hear from the mayor and other leaders in our community about great plans ahead. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the mayor of the city of Seattle, Ed Murray.
Thank you, and good morning on this beautiful Seattle day. We are here today to talk about education in Seattle and to share a proposal developed in collaboration with Councilmember Burgess to expand education access in this city. High-quality early learning that is so essential for success for our children throughout their lives. Today in Seattle, a significant achievement gap separates our children. The gap exists despite the hard work and dedication of our school district and our public school teachers. It is a gap that falls clearly and unequivocally along lines of race and income. We live in a city where 60% of the school-age children are white, but 60% of the public school children are children of color. In our public schools, 4 out of 5 African American students receive free or reduced price lunches, as do 2 out of 3 Latino students, 3 out of 5 American Indian students, and 1 out of 2 Asian and Pacific Island students. For white children, it is just 1 out of 10. And along with that, the economic disadvantage comes academic disparity. In 2012, 90% of white 4th graders were reading at grade level, compared to 66% for Latino and 56% for African American students. In 2012, 1/3 of Latino and African American students did not graduate on time, compared to 14% of white students. For a city as affluent and as vibrant as Seattle, a city as progressive and compassionate, these results are unacceptable, and these results must change. At a time when this disparity reinforces the widening gap between those who fill the high-wage jobs in the city and those who struggle to make ends meet, this only makes the problem worse. One of the most important questions that we face as a city and as a society is this: what can we do to build a school system that works equally and fairly for all of our children? The answer starts long before kindergarten. It starts before kindergarten. I need to say that twice. Research makes clear that children who attend preschool are more likely to graduate from high school, that graduate on time, acquire the knowledge and skills necessary that will make them succeed throughout life. And yet, too many of our children, never get the essential foundation of preschool to make those lives possible. A new study by the National Institution of Early Education reports that in DC, 94% of 4-year-olds are in preschool. In Florida, Oklahoma, and Vermont, better than 7 out of 10 children attend preschool. As a state and a city, we lag far behind. Here in Washington State, only 2 out of 10 4-year-olds attend pre-K or Head Start. For 3-year-olds, it's just 1 out of 10. And in Seattle, thousands and thousands of 3 and 4-year-olds are not in any formal preschool at all. The reason is simple. For far too many, it is just simply too expensive to be in preschool in the city of Seattle. This must change. This cost is too high, not just in dollars, but in terms of the future of these children's lives. That's what we're here today to begin to work on. We cannot easily bear the burden of poor academic achievement, higher crime rates, reduced lifetime earnings. That's the result of what happens when kids don't get pre-K. We need to prepare children adequately so those results don't continue to stand. And most important is the moral cost. The moral cost is too high. Our moral responsibility is to our children. We owe them a fair and equal opportunity to thrive and prosper in this great city. We must not fail them in this. My friends, this is our greatest obligation. So today I am pleased to announce my recommendation for a 4-year, $14.5 million per year proposal that funds a demonstration project in the city of Seattle that begins to close that preparedness gap that exists in our city. The cost to the average homeowner in Seattle will be $3.63 a month for 4 years. Lattes cost more than that. I recognize that in doing this, we will place an additional tax burden on the homeowners of this city. But again, I believe we have a moral obligation to help families and children transform their lives so that we can save money in our education system, in our criminal justice system, and in our healthcare system. And I believe that giving all of our children a fair and equal chance to thrive in school, to live productive and prosperous lives, is, again, the most important thing that I will ever do as mayor. And I believe it is the most important thing that my fellow council members will ever do as council members. People will not long remember what jobs we were elected to or how long we were in office. And that's not what matters. What matters is the city that we leave behind. And I think we have a unique opportunity, beginning today, to leave a legacy that a generation from now will create a very different city. A city where some of the problems and challenges that we face can be eliminated by preparing 3 and 4-year-olds for a life ahead of them. The funding proposal is the first step. The other part of this approach is that we focus on quality first. We begin slowly and we build over time. We have learned by looking at model programs around the country that getting this right isn't easy. And if you don't get quality right, then you don't get the results you want. So the beginning is slow, it is relatively small, and we phase in over time. Here are some other key components that is going to make this program work. Most importantly, a great relationship with the Seattle Public Schools. High quality training to ensure high quality teachers, the right curriculum, and the right facilities. I want to thank Councilmember Burgess for his leadership on this. I'm lucky to come into office at a time when so much of the thinking was done by you, Councilmember, so I can't thank you enough for your leadership on this. I want to thank the Superintendent for being here and for his leadership in working with us to develop a program where the school district will be our partner. I want to thank the State Department of Early Learning Director, Betty Hyde, for her agency's help and coordination as we move forward. And I want to thank the person who really taught me about the importance of universal pre-K and has been a leader at the state level in setting the groundwork for what we're about to do. And that's my former colleague in the House, Representative Ruth Kagi. Thank you so much, Ruth. You should give those folks a clap. I also want to thank the community members, the members of the school district, leaders throughout the city, my own Office of Education, and Holly Miller, the director of that office, for the hard work to create the program that you're going to learn more about. Again, I want to emphasize something. I believe that this really is a moment in Seattle's history where we can do something to change the inequality that exists in this city, to change the economic inequity that exists in this city, the racial disparity that exists in this city. We can do something to change that, and that something is creating universal pre-K that closes a gap between races, that closes a gap between income, and closes a gap in the future lives of people who live in this city. So thank you very much for all who worked on this. I want to acknowledge some people who are here who've also been major contributors. Councilmember Bruce Harrell, thank you. Come on, folks, you're supposed to clap. Councilmember Tom Rasmussen. And the Chancellor of the Seattle Community College System, we now call it the Seattle College System, Jill Wakefield. Thank you all for coming. Before I introduce the other speakers, there was an article, an op-ed in today's New York Times, and it was by Nicholas Kristof. I urge everyone to look at it. Here is one fact that he puts out. 1 month's salary of the nation's top 6 hedge fund managers could fund President Obama's national pre-K program. We can do this. We can afford it. It's now my honor to introduce really the godfather of this, Councilmember Tim Burgess.
It's the first time I've been called a godfather. Good morning to everyone. We are all here today because we believe that every child in our city deserves a strong and fair start in school and in life. Regardless of their race, regardless of their background, regardless of their family income, regardless of the neighborhood that they live in, every child deserves to be prepared for school and for life. Mayor Murray, thank you for your leadership on behalf of Seattle's children. Thank you for honoring and sharpening the vision expressed by the City Council last fall when we called for collaboration with you to craft a bold program to help our kids start strong. Over the last year and a half, we have consulted with the nation's leading early learning educators and researchers. We have visited cities across the country. We have visited preschools throughout Seattle. We've worked with the Seattle School District and our local universities. We have listened to teachers, to parents, and even to kids. And all of this led to one conclusion. It's time for voluntary, affordable, high-quality preschool in Seattle. Preschool that works and is scientifically proven to prepare our children for success in school and in life. Several long-term evaluations have demonstrated that high-quality preschool leads not only to better academic achievement, but to better health, higher-paying jobs, and much, much lower levels of criminal behavior. The most recent independent studies have confirmed these tangible academic and social benefits on a large scale in Boston and Tulsa and the states of New Jersey and Georgia. For our children, our parents, and our taxpayers, we are committed to a preschool program that is evidence-based with high quality. High quality means full-day preschool. It means a teaching staff that is highly compensated, trained, and supported with ongoing professional development and coaching. It means a menu of curricula that are play-based and proven to work. And high quality means economically and culturally diverse children playing and learning together in classrooms. The approach and the timeline that Mayor Murray has outlined today and endorsed is the right choice for Seattle. It's consistent with the academic evidence, and it's the best investment that we could possibly make for our children and for the future of our city. Thank you.
And now from the 32nd District, Representative Ruth Kagi.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Burgess. This is just really a proud moment from a Seattleite to see the city launch this initiative that can truly change the future of thousands of children's lives. We hear a lot about the opportunity gap and how it is increasing despite our best efforts and many initiatives in the K-12 system. And the research is so clear, and it keeps growing, that the opportunity gap exists before kids get to school. And if we don't intervene in those early years and really give children and their parents the opportunity to succeed, then we're going to continue to see an opportunity gap. It is the best possible investment we can make to improve our education outcomes. President Obama initiated the Early Learning Race to the Top to provide support to states on improving quality of early learning. And Washington State has benefited tremendously from that and built a system that Betty will talk about. But that really provides a tremendous, strong framework for the quality the city is seeking to achieve. The President and Senator Murray are starting an initiative in Congress to get this nation to invest much more robustly in quality pre-K and early learning opportunities. They have learned from the experiences of many states and cities, which Councilman Burgess mentioned, who have invested in high quality at scale. And they have gotten remarkable results that now are well documented. We're not seeing the fade out that has been discussed with pre-K so often. We're seeing a growing body of research saying it makes sustained gains to invest in pre-K. For 3-4-year-olds, a study that was just done and presented to the legislature this last session shows a 32% higher readiness for kindergarten and twice the proficiency in language and math and social skills. These programs are run at scale and they're affordable. It's impossible not to overstate the importance of quality, and you've heard already the emphasis that the city is putting on quality. And I am very pleased the city is going to take a measured, thoughtful approach in implementing universal pre-K to assure that a quality system is built and that we learn from our mistakes and successes. I look forward to working with my colleagues in Seattle and with the Department of Early Learning to make this a success and to bring state resources to help it make a success. Thank you.
And now we're going to hear from Betty Hyde.
Great. Pull this down. Well, I am here to celebrate. You know, as a state director of early learning, I am here to celebrate and to compliment the mayor and the council members for what I think is a very wise and impactful decision. As people before me have said, there are years, decades of research about how early learning is the single best investment we can make in children and in turn our future. Not only do they benefit in school, they benefit as adults, they're healthier, there's a great return on investment, and there's literally data that shows good interactions with young children literally, physiologically affect the child's developing brain in positive ways. Wow, such a deal. I'm also complimenting you on your emphasis on quality. None of that works unless it's quality. And I know, because we have been working closely with Holly and people on the design of the program, it is all about quality. We're working arm in arm with them to use the same quality measures, to work on the same coaching frameworks, and I am just delighted to be partnering with them and think that together, as we roll out more state-funded preschool, you roll out your Seattle model, we are going to make a huge, wonderful difference in the lives of lots of young children and families. So my hat's off to you. Congratulations.
And I can't emphasize enough that this will not work unless we have partnerships and we're collaborative. And it's my honor to introduce the Superintendent of Seattle Public Schools.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to applaud the courage of the mayor and the city council for moving this initiative forward, and also the willingness to engage into a real authentic partnership with the Seattle Public Schools and to launch a collective effort to close that opportunity gap through this Preschool for All initiative. We observe daily the impact that our 60 preschools and Seattle Public Schools have on our students and the early formative years of our students, but we know that these programs and these classes don't go far enough to reach the needs of all of our students in Seattle. With thoughtful implementation and expansion of high-quality, research-based preschool that aligns to the K-5 experience, the Seattle Preschool Program will elevate the city of Seattle as a model for the rest of the nation. We all want each of our kindergartners to be able to walk through the door on the first day of school, bright-eyed, with their little backpacks on, and ready and confident that they can be successful in that early setting. Seattle Public Schools has made a commitment in our strategic plan to supporting the journey of each and every one of our students, every student in every class every day. And that journey begins with a high-quality early learning experience for our 3- and 4-year-olds. Today's a day we can look back on 5 years from now, knowing that we had the political and the collective will to change the landscape of educating our children here in Seattle. And again, thank you very much for moving this along, and we look very forward to being an active partner in this endeavor. And we know that together we can create opportunities for our children that don't exist today.
Again, thank you all, and now we'll take questions from the media.
So, Mayor, you just had voters turn down a transportation package, and you're also putting the transportation package on the ballot. What makes you think that this is the right time to put this kind of package and ask voters to approve two different types of taxes?
Well, you know, the Proposition 1 did fail countywide, but it won by 66% in the city of Seattle, which is a pretty healthy victory. I wish I'd gotten that percentage. So, you know, but in all honesty, there is some risk. It wouldn't have been my choice that we would have to go out on a transit package. But in each case, whether it's transit, whether it's universal pre-K, whether it's renewing money for our park system, it's actually going to save us. You know, if we renew our parks funding, kids in our community centers where the hours have been dramatically cut, are kids who are not on the streets. It's going to save us money. Kids in universal pre-K getting the preparation they need so that they succeed in school is going to save us money. In transit, we can't afford, people can't afford in this city to be stuck in traffic. It costs. If you're stuck in traffic, it costs you at work, or it costs you more money when you're trying to get to child care. So I think each of these issues are going to withstand the challenge that they face and pass because of what they address.
How many conversations had you and the superintendent had about this, and why is this not a Seattle School District-led initiative versus a city-led issue?
So we've worked with the school district all along, particularly with our Office of Education. The Seattle School District, like school districts around this state, I know this well, having been a former budget chair in Olympia, they're struggling. They're struggling with K-12 as a result of the draconian cuts during the Great Recession. This is our opportunity to partner with them by bringing dollars that we have in taxing capacity that we have to work with the school district. It's going to be a joint effort, and this hasn't always been true in all cities around the country, but luckily we're starting out talking about this, meeting about this.
Ultimately, how many 3- and 4-year-olds are there in the city of Seattle?
So I do not know how many 3- or 4-year-olds there are in the city of Seattle. I don't know if someone has that statistic off the top of their head. 15,000? 13,000. 13,000.
And ultimately, that's your goal?
Ultimately is universal, voluntary, but universal pre-K. And remember, this is a city where people are choosing to raise families to a greater extent than they have during the last generation. We see more kids in our schools. You know that well. We see more kids in our parks. So it's really an opportunity.
Mayor, if we're talking about a 15
on the growth of the district.
So we'll start here and then we'll go in the back.
Mayor, if we're talking about 15 to 20 years of an implementation plan of trying to get all of, like 80% of kids at 300% of poverty at that point,
Right.
are we not really talking about $58 million? We're talking about more like a long-term property tax commitment. I mean,
Yeah, we are, we're starting out with basically a pilot project. We're going to see how this works. We believe that we've got the right pieces in place to make it work, but we want to be smart about it. I generally have a governing technique that usually involves phasing, whether it was domestic partnership to marriage or what we've done on the issue of minimum wage. So I think it's important to get it right and to grow it. And to get to the earlier question, there is the issue of costs. We're going to have to grow our financial commitment over time as people see the value in this. There will be opportunities, I believe, in the future for state funding, and definitely when we were back east in D.C., we met with the federal delegation and people in the administration about future federal funding. So I see this as something that will be more than just the city paying for it as we grow this program.
Mayor,
Back here, there was someone back here.
Mr. Mayor, you just mentioned that Seattle Schools has been growing, and indeed it has. And in your handout, you talk about classrooms offered by Seattle Public Schools, and yet we have villages of portables everywhere in the district. How does the district and you reconcile finding classrooms for this effort?
So facilities is a big challenge, and this is again an area where we need to get it right, and where we believe as a city we can bring value added to the school district. We're going to explore our own facilities. Those might be the renovations that will happen as in the community centers. There might be other facilities. The district is going through its own planning process around this. So again, we think that this is where we can bring value added based on the resources that we have, property that we own throughout the city. So again, we're going to start. We're starting small, and we're going to grow. We're going to grow the answer to that over time.
This is an optional program for preschools and centers to take part in. Can you explain what incentives they have if they are eligible to participate?
So, the incentive is basically, I think you heard from the director of Neighborhood House. He has a waiting list of 60 right now?
Right now.
60 kids, 60 families who need a place for their 3 or 4-year-old to go to school. The incentive is the program itself. And I think one of the challenges of going slow to get quality right is going to be the demand for this is going to be great.
So do they receive city funding in some way?
Sure. So there will be, there is, again, the issue of cost is one of the reasons so many kids are not in, 3 and 4-year-olds are not in pre-K. The way that we are financing this, it will be very, very affordable for poor and low-income families, and we can provide you the breakout.
Who heads up the program? Is it the school district, the Department of Early Learning? Who kind of...
It'll be a joint effort between the Seattle Office of Education. Holly Miller is here; she's the director, in the school district under the superintendent. Yes.
I saw in the booklet that it said there's going to be a new subcommittee of the Families and Education Levy for this purpose.
Yes.
Does that mean there'll be new members added to the committee, or the committee will just take on this work?
There will be not new members added to the overall oversight committee, but there will be a committee formed under that group. Some members will be from that group, and others will be people who have a particular expertise in pre-K.